Hey, good morning, y'all. Yeah. Theatrics. A bunch of crap, ain't it? I wonder if I could. Let's see if I can. I might be able to actually make myself a little more comfortable. Oh, can I get it? Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. Trusty old chair. This is my throne. You know that, right? Um, hmm. So I love and thrive on these Bible problem paradox things because they're not as paradoxical as you would think. You just have to know how to literally rightly divide the word. Okay. Look, Solomon, I mean, cut the baby in half, right? Uh, and that phrase is just, you know, I know how to rightly divide the word. I'm saying that I doubt it. If you want to go into a debate with me and see who's going to walk all over who using that sword, bring it, okay? Anyway, today's topic, Yahweh versus Kimosh. Oh, and guess what? Apparently it looks as if Yahweh has lost. Well, I think that, you know, we can put this all to rest without much discussion at all. No figuring, no logic. Just put the facts on the table, okay? Number one, Yahweh is sovereign. And everything that happens in this place, everything that happens, okay? If you're just joining, hi. Um, yeah, I get somebody beating the hell out of my phones, man. It's like I had my phone number out there trying to be kind because I realize the importance of what I'm doing. And now I got somebody pestering me. And, it's more of a headache, but yeah, whatever. So yeah, here's the battle. Yahweh versus Kimosh. It's like, are you that's actually appears in Second Kings 3. Um, but here's the rules of engagement. Okay, we're talking Yahweh here, sovereignty, right? So everything that happens, he's still in control of it, even if it seems like he's not. The God we serve does, sorry, forgive me, street terms, weird shit. He asks questions. Why does he ask questions if he knows everything? Right? Because he wants to see if you're lying. That's your chance. Your word is your hook in your jaw. Your word is your hook. And you either live by his or you die by your own. That's how you rightly divide the word. So in this battle, in any battle though, he's sovereign, so he can use either and both sides. Actually, in Second Kings 22, you can actually see where, or is that First Kings 22? Yeah, it's First Kings 22. You can see where he actually calls upon evil spirits to go engage in a battle for him. He needs something evil to be done. Who does he send to do it? You don't send good to do evil. That's stupid. That would be unrighteous. Good is only supposed to make good. Evil can do either. Clever, isn't it? See, what we don't understand is when you read this book, it'll say things like, you know, in all your ways, honor him, and he'll give you the desires of your heart, right? Well, guess what? He gives you the desires of your heart either way. And in that way, he's not tempting you because you've asked for it. That is how fine the line is. And if you don't understand that when you read, you'll get lost in all kinds of pride. I'm chosen, I'm protected, even. And all you're doing is you're claiming a name and you don't understand how it works. So, but Kimosh goes into battle here. Or let's back up for a second. So in First Kings 22, yeah, I think it's First Kings 22:21. Um, we have, you know, King Ahab, it's his time. He's done. Well, guess what? Somebody has to go do bad work and knock somebody out, right? Or cause that to happen. And see, that's what it is instead of, we'll say that he doesn't protect us, but really our protection is in doing exactly what he says to do. It's like learning to fly a freaking jumbo jet and somebody is talking to you and saying, do this, do this, do this, and you will live. And that's what this book is. And it's so simple. But in this battle where evil is sent to kill Ahab, what happens is so that the Lord can be hands off, right? He's just, remember how he says, I looked for somebody to go and nobody was found. Well, nobody still can be somebody. Like, we live in a light, dark, opposites thing, good and evil, all of it. So if God is somebody, there's going to be an ultimate nobody. And that's what I worry about because I actually prayed that prayer. That was when all this enlightenment came to me. When I read the scriptures and I realized that they had to be true in the was, is, and will be senses. So as soon as I realized that, I searched for somebody, someone to go, and nobody was found. And it's kind of like, does that mean nobody was found or nobody is somebody? And that's what I'm saying. And when you know what it means to be humble and give yourself to God, yeah, you are nobody. You are translated by the words of this book, and you can't be found anymore. Because, I'm going to tell you something. To me, that used to, I don't know, I used to want to ride bicycles. I used to want to ride my motorcycle around or garden or look at my telescope, play guitar, whatever. I am 100%, and I won't err and go, I'm 110%. There is no 110%, okay? I'm 100% into this, and I got to get this thing out. I gotta let people see this because we are screwing ourselves and we don't even know it because of the way we read the book, right? It says, as a time not seen since the beginning of time. Does that mean, what if I told you it was right in front of us since the beginning of time? A time not seen. There's a time that exists right in front of us that we can't even see. And why? Because we're at each other's throats. Two different kingdoms at battle. And the one kingdom is just like a family matter. It's, uh, Ishmael, man, and a question mark between him and God. But in First Kings, um, because he searches for somebody to go, the Lord asks of the evil spirits who will go, and he's hands off. So see, what's happening is because it's all evil, he knows the answer. and he can see if the evil is actually going to cooperate or go on its own to do its own thing. And that is where Satan fell. If you want to know what the whole Satan gig is that's what it is. Evil can be used for good. When it says that Satan appears as an angel of light, that's because darkness is light, but it depends on what you do. You have to test that spirit, right? Is it real? Is that really what I should be doing? And that's what all the point of Jesus' teachings were, where we're like, that guy's trying to harm me. Jesus was like, look, err on the side of love. Feed, pray for, clothe, because that is, if you knew what Judaism was about, it's about converting darkness into light. There are, I mean, once you start to look at all the Talmudic stuff, and they're extra. I mean, like the Tanya and the Zohar. Uh, I'm sorry, but all that stuff counts. It's all Jewish writings, and it's all fits when you know how to look at it. But if the where we erred is that we believe that prophecy, that like we can't break a prophecy or screw it up, right? And it's like it all depends on us. This place exists exactly as it is because each of us, as a host, you are a host of a spirit. Okay? And guess what? You are something's controlling you. If you want to, I don't know how you want to define that. Light, dark, good, evil. Your spirit is in alignment with one of two particular directions, right? And where do good people mess up? Well, as they walk along, they're fearful. Can I get away with this? Should I do that? Am I going to have enough? Right? And then you start to like bend rules, cheating on your taxes or working under the table or, you know, however it is that you do it, right? um, yeah, I don't do that. I stopped all that a long, long time ago when I had my, Paul moment, when the Holy Spirit got on me and woo. I'm going to tell you something. You can call it whatever you want. I mean, if you really think about it, I don't know if you've ever had a creepy feeling where it just charges you up. It feels like something's going on, right? But I mean, there's more times. I mean, have you ever not watched a movie and had that happen? Or listened to some good music? I write music and sometimes. Sorry. And sometimes I'll hear somebody else's music and it just wows me, right? Well, all I can say is when the word of the Lord comes, that's what it feels like. It's like some strange epiphany, and you might even feel like you got juiced a little bit, right? I didn't know what was going on, and it was all after I read one verse, Genesis 1:29, about the seed. And then I was on my face, and then I got up, and then the guy who knew nothing about the Bible, nothing, gave a 2-hour sermon on being the door. And I don't know what the heck I was saying, but yeah. Anyway, so when God needs something to be done, he works from both sides. He does. And if one side isn't working, he'll kind of force the other side into whatever it is just so that it keeps going. But if you look at what happens in First Kings, you'll see it's all questioning to make sure that these, because evil again is like a stem cell. It can be used for good or it can be used for evil. Good, that's kind of weird. Now, if you're using evil for evil, okay, and you understand that it can be used for good so that you can, because that's what evil's for. It allows breaking of laws for good reasons, right? What if Rahab couldn't lie? And obviously it was found that she was okay, right? So what matters then? What is the real matter here? It's your inclination. What's the inclination of your heart and the thoughts of your mind, right? But in First Kings, it's questions all the way through. Who will go? And then the spirits decide. And then one comes forward, and I'm not going to say that, um, but it's weird. It is a triad of questions usually. Okay, who will do it? So he defines the servant, and then he says, how will you do it? Which is what is that? How is different because how is going to be one of two different ways. So now I've defined the servant, I define the spirit, and then what's the last thing to do? I don't know. You wouldn't even have to do anything after that because he knows the servant and then what the servant intends to do, and he would know if that servant or that spirit was lying. So then, and that's exactly how it plays out. Who will go? One steps forward. Huh, yeah, that's right. And next, because see, the evil spirits can even try and get over. That's where Satan was trying to elevate his rule over God's. Where God would have mercy using evil for good, Satan uses it to ruin you. But there is a certain point where it's all the same thing. And every time you produce it, it's got to be reconciled somehow. And and honestly, if you read Isaiah 45:7, it says, I form light and I create darkness. I make peace and I create evil. So now think about this. Every time that we decide to do evil, we don't really create anything. The Lord does. Well, guess what happens? Every time you do evil, you have forced the Lord to probably do something that he doesn't want to do in creating evil, literally through you. Slippery rope, eh? But now in 2 Kings 3, what happens is you got Elisha. The one king is like, isn't there a prophet always involving the word of God, right? And it's the same exact thing actually happens here, except you're viewing it literally from the other side. What happens? Instead of the prophet going to help the other side like he did, this time the prophet says, what have I to do with you? So he's already against him, right? He's already against him. And yet, so what does he still do? Well, tell me anyway. Why would you take the advice of a prophet that was not on your side? And I'm not saying that, being on your side doesn't mean, oh yeah, don't worry, you can do anything you want. I'll cover for you with God. Just go serve some other gods. And no, absolutely not. Uh, it's just to say that the job is that of advice and guidance, and if you won't take it, what the hell can I do, right? I can't force anybody to do anything, but it sucks to watch people suffer for no good reason. But watch what happens here in 2 Kings. So 2 Kings 3. Keep saying the same thing over and over here. 3 Kings. I got 3 Kings. 3 Kings. uh, so in the 18th year, Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, Joram the son of Ahab. Let's see. Now this is now the son of Ahab, right? became king over Israel and Samaria. He reigned how many years? Ta-da, 12 years. Everything's going to be round numbers, 7,000, 3,000, 400, 500. It just always is. And there's reasons for that. So this is like a complete, he's gone through his cycle or whatever, right? Um, he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, though not like his father and mother. Now, this is interesting because when we think father and mother, get away from the what this guy's parents did. This is talking about Father God or Father Lies, Lady Wisdom or the harlot. These are the families that you are being joined into. Okay? So when it says he did evil but not like his father and mother, his real father and mother may have done like really bad, wicked things. But guess what? He tried to use evil for good. And what happens is that's when you sacrifice yourself. That's when the Son of Man is lifted up. Okay? He did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, though not like his father and mother, for he put away, see, right here, for he put away the pillar of Baal that his father had made. Okay? So he's less evil. He's working in the right direction. Okay? God will use that. Nevertheless, he clung to the sin of Jeroboam, the son, and I don't know what he did, to the sin of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. There's going to be something in that name because he is the son of Nebat. If you look at Nebat, you're going to get a clue as to exactly what that sin was, okay? And I'll tell you that without even reading it. Go look, you'll see. Which he may, and make sure you use a good concordance and breakdown for the Hebrew, all right? Because you'll find words that say means light, and then you go keep reading and it says means dark, and it's like, what do you mean? And it's like it means both. And there are words like that, and plenty of them. You have to know how to rightly divide the word. Anyway, which he made Israel to sin. He did not depart from it. Now, when it speaks of Israel, remember that speaks to a nation, yes, but whenever it mentions Israel, it's speaking is all the way down to even a single person, and that person could be you. Israel is somebody who is not a sneaky, clever Jacob kind of person, okay? Israel is somebody that knows that God prevails and you follow those rules. You do it his way. You sit at his right hand so he can take care of things, right? Nevertheless, he clung to the sin of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which he made Israel to sin. He did not depart from it. So if he's making Israel to sin, he caused them to not trust in God and to do something. Well, I mean, that's kind of obvious, right? They did something outside of the law. So, and probably it was something to do in a faith issue, though. That's how I would feel it would probably be. Now, Mesha, king of Moab, was a sheep breeder. Now, this is funny, right? Now we're getting some sheep in here. And he had to deliver to the king of Israel. Okay, look at what he's supposed to bring: 100,000 lambs and the wool of 100,000 rams. But when Ahab died, thank you for the evil spirits that went to go do the job, the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Israel. Okay, so King Jehoram now where did he come from? Okay, so that's the son. Got to keep my names straight here. So King Jehoram marched out of Samaria at that time and mustered all Israel. So, there it could be referring to a nation, obviously, right? And he went and sent, and honestly, when you think about it, the way he says that, I mustered all Israel, the only people that would go would be Israel, because the other people would be more like Jacob's. They might try to get out of it or figure some conniving way, right? So, again, so he mustered all Israel. He grabbed everybody that would go, and he went and sent word to Jehoshaphat, king of Judah. The king of Moab has rebelled against me. Okay. Will you go with me to battle against Moab? Okay, so now you've got Israel and Judah in combined forces, right? Is it, do the king of Moab has rebelled against me. Will you go with me to battle against Moab? Okay. And he said, I will go. Okay. I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses. Very important. This is not talking about just battle horses, okay? The great sword that's taken peace from the earth is the Bible. And I'm surprised that I don't see a bunch of people riding around on red horses out there, okay? That would be better. Um, then he said, by which way shall we march? And then what does he pick? The red route, Edom. And by way of the wilderness, okay? Now, a lot of things can happen in the wilderness, because the wilderness is like, it's a dry place, but it's also where you're proofed. When it's talking about, somebody coming from the house of David, and which is a spiritual thing, not a bloodline, and a root out of dry ground, it's talking about somebody that emerges from adversity, okay? Somebody that's somebody that really believes in God, right? You can't have somebody that's gonna, well, am I gonna make it? It's like, you can't have that. If God doesn't answer a blessing, who has actually failed? Has God, um, you know, has He failed you because the blessing didn't come? If you gave up, no, you gave up. If He was going to bless, will you know if He's going to bless you? Maybe He wanted to, and you just wore out. And that's what the whole thing is. That's what when the devil is trying to wear out the saints, that's exactly what's happening. I got an itch on my belly. Sorry. Anyway, so here he goes now, and look at which way they go. They're going through the wilderness, and they even eat them, and that's not a good thing. Anyway, so the king of Israel went with the king of Judah and the king of Edom, and when they had made a circuitous march of 7 days, surprise, surprise, there was no water for the army or the animals that followed them. Now, think about this. They're in the wilderness, and yes, there's no water. But what did I just tell you? The wilderness represents a dry place, right? And the water that it could be referring to could be guidance from God, not water, okay? But this is the way they say it. Or for the animals that followed them, okay? And even that it says that, it goes, it's talking about the law of God and guidance from God, because it says right there, or for the animals that what? Followed them. Then the king of Israel said, alas, the Lord has called these three kings to give them into the hand of Moab. So what's happening? Uh-oh, he's losing faith in the desert, in the wilderness, isn't he? Not going to turn out good. And Jehoshaphat said, is there no prophet of the Lord here? And I say the same damn thing. Prophet of the Lord here. Wake up. And Jehoshaphat said, is there no prophet of the Lord here through whom we may inquire of the Lord? And then one of the king of Israel's servants answered, Elisha, son of Shaphat, is here. Uh-oh. Who poured water on the hands of Elijah. Wow. He poured on his hands. That's why he got a double blessing. Wow. All right. And Jehoshaphat said, the word of the Lord is with him. Okay? It's with me as well. And Elisha said to the king of Israel, what have I to do with you? So look at him. He's already, if you're not going to have faith, a prophet is of no use to you, because they'll tell you and scream and try to direct you and point at everything, show you all the problems, and you just won't give a shit. What have I to do with you? Go to the prophets of your father and the prophets of your mother. So remember what I just told you? When it's saying father and mother in here, it's referring to Father God or Father of lies. The Torah, Lady Wisdom, or the harlot, depending on, your interaction between knowledge and so on. But go and consult your own rules, because obviously, he says, no. But the king of Israel said to him, no, it is the Lord who has called these three kings to give them into the hand of Moab. And Elisha said, as the Lord of hosts lives, and you are a host, okay? You host a spirit in here. It's called the breath of life. Comes with a lot of responsibility. I would neither look at nor see you. And that sounds like an insult, but he's saying, I can't, there's nothing that you're doing that I can condone, right? He's got to be way out of line here. But now bring me a musician. And when the musician played, the hand of the Lord came upon him, and he said, thus says the Lord. Okay? Now, the musician says this, right? He says, bring me a musician. And the musician played, and the hand of the Lord came upon him, and he said. So now who's prophesying to him? Okay? Remember in the first Kings, he put a lying tongue in the mouth of his prophets. Well, now look who's talking, right? Thus says the Lord, I will make this dry stream bed full of pools. But what kind of water is gonna be there, right? Okay, for thus says the Lord, you shall not see wind or rain. Okay, no spirit, no guidance, no wind and no rain. That word for wind is it ruah? I wonder, because ruah can be translated as wind. And I mean, how would you want to translate that? You shall see no spirit or, word, law, right? But that stream bed shall be filled with water, so that you shall drink, your livestock and your animals. Always three. This is a light thing in the sight of the Lord. Really? A light thing, huh? Interesting choice of words. How does everybody else read that? The Lord said, yeah, I think I got this one. I don't need your help this time. Uh, He will also give the Moabites into your hand, and you shall attack every fortified city, and every city shall fall, and every. Now, this is obviously, remember when he says in first, he says, I will put a lying tongue in the mouths of his prophets. Listen to the things that he wants him to do. Okay? You're going to attack every fortified city, every choice city. That doesn't mean good city. It's literally about a choice. It's talking about different kinds of people he's going to attack here. Fortified, good ones, and you're going to chop down good trees and stop up all the springs of water. I'm sorry, but he founded it on the waters, and you try and stop up them springs, you are tempting the fate of the hand of God to come upon you. Wow. How can nobody see this? You're going to stop up all the springs. What you're witnessing right now, that musician has a lying tongue in his mouth. And right behind, well, no, that's First Kings. Sorry, First Kings 22. First Kings 22. And this is in Second Kings 23. Weird. I don't know. There could even be a pattern there between these two books, and they split them in that way. Now it makes me want to go look at First Kings 24 and Second Kings 25 or something like that and see if there isn't some kind of weird parallel where they're teaching you from two different angles. This stuff's in here, guys. We missed it. And ruin every good piece of land with stones. Oh my God. Do you realize when the devil said that to Jesus, when he said, turn these stones into bread? Jesus could have said, oh, you mean like you already have? Yeah, because that's what the word became, a damn curse to us. That's what the devil does. He brings the curse of the law. Okay? Sons of God, we bring the blessing of the law. Okay? The next morning, about the time of offering the sacrifice, behold, water came from the direction of Edom. Uh-oh. Edom's bad, right? Till the country was filled with water. Blood, it might as well be. Okay? When all the Moabites heard that the kings had come up to fight against them, all who were able to put on armor, from the youngest to the oldest, were called out and were drawn up to the border. When it uses that term, from youngest to the oldest, something is happening there because it's referring to the different kinds of sons, even the different kinds of wine, oldest to youngest. Remember when Jesus sent them guys packing when they wanted to stone the adulteress? He wrote two laws on the ground. He wrote Exodus 21:12 first, okay? Because that says if you kill a man, you're to be killed. Okay, so how can they stone him? Well, but she's not a man. And actually, they probably already took care of him, honestly. And now they're trying to get her and Jesus. And Jesus wrote down that, got himself out of it, okay? And then he wrote down Leviticus 24:17, which says, if you strike a human being and cause their death, you shall surely die. Okay, now you read those two laws from the Torah and the way they took that seriously, and these people actually feared God. That's when it says that his delight will be in the fear of the Lord, it's not saying that he fears the Lord. My delight is in people that actually fear God. That's what I delight in. You know why? Because I know those people will do exactly as I do. They won't screw up, mess up, sin, accusing people of crap. I want my teachers on board so I can show you guys what I found, man. From the youngest to the oldest were called out and were drawn up at the border. Uh-oh, right there at the border. And when they rose early in the morning, shift change, and the sun shone on the water. That's God saying, okay, time to reveal. The Moabites saw the water. Mother, look at that. What did I say? And I don't even know these scriptures. Never read them before in my life. I don't read. I haven't read the Bible cover to cover. And when they rose early in the morning and the sun shone on the water, the Moabites saw the water opposite them as red as blood. And they said, "This is blood. The kings have surely fought together and struck one another down." And yes, they did. Spiritually, they certainly did. You don't call on Edom to help you out with something. That's the damn red horse, okay? That's the sword that takes peace from the earth. Sorry for my outburst there. I've had enough of this, man. I've been through this for 5 freaking years now. More. I know what I found. What is it going to prove anything to you if I just ruin my whole life? The only thing that's going to happen, the only thing that'll happen is I'll just be able to fulfill prophecy, because then I'll just die with nothing and not for myself. You know what? Screw you assholes. Go figure it out. You're looking for some pious piece of shit to show up and guide you? You got a book. It has rules in it. Follow the damn thing. Stop kicking the goats. And sell everything you can. Surely the kings have fought and struck one another down. Now then, Moab to the spoil. And what happened? Their spirits were just wild now. You give me somebody with a heart and some guts, and I'll get the job done. Okay? But when they came to the camp of Israel, the Israelites rose and struck the Moabites till they fled before them. And they went forward, striking the Moabites as they went. And they overthrew the cities, and on every good piece of land, every man threw a stone until it was covered. Right? Now it sounds like they're going to get what they're going to get, right? But watch. It's always about the firstborn son. They stopped until it was covered. They stopped every spring of water and felled all the good trees. So now it sounds like, yeah, they're getting what they want, but they're literally cutting their own throats, okay? They're they're in Gaza, okay? They stopped every spring of water and felled all the good trees till only its stones were left in Kir Hareshet. And that name right there is going to have meaning, okay? And the slingers surrounded and attacked it. When the king of Moab saw the battle was going against him, what did he do? 700 swordsmen, people that know scripture, 700. He's basically saying, I'm going to turn to the book. I'm going to appeal to my God. And that's the problem. We serve the God of all gods. Kimosh serves Yahweh. Dagon serves Yahweh. That's why Yahweh was bowing before the ark in the temple when they came in there. And you know what happened? They interrupted the worship service. If you read the Hebrew, that's how it reads. It reads as if a worship service was interrupted. And I'm going off of course, some other teacher out there, none of you guys will come back in my direction. It bums me out. But 700 swordsmen to break through, opposite the king of Edom. Opposite even. But they could not. Then he took his oldest son, that's his firstborn, right? Who was to reign in his place, and offered him for a burnt offering on the wall. Guess what? Here's what people don't understand. It doesn't say that what's to say that the angel didn't say, wait, I know that now you are not afraid to fight against the evil, and you will step forward and do whatever, your God has told you. I mean, whatever, right? It doesn't even say that he actually sacrificed that son. It's assumed. That could have been stopped. And then look what happens. And there came great wrath against Israel. So he pushes it all the way to the limit of offering his oldest son. Abraham did exactly the same thing, right? And then who was offered up? What happened? Who actually was then offered up when Abraham followed through? A ram, right? In this case, Israel represents a ram. And you want to know who took it out? A goat. Um, yeah. These prophecies are not, this is timeless. This is all just formatted on names and it's all structured. You can't break this. You can't break the way this is laid out. We can't fight against well, I shouldn't say it. We have been, and that's our battle. When it says a time, not seen since the beginning of time, it's occurring right now in our faces, and we don't even see it. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go. I don't know. I don't know what to do here. If you know any pastors or theologians or whatever, everything changes all the way back to the beginning of the Bible. It's like a snake going back and forth. If you read in the beginning, it says, in the beginning, Elohim created. Created means darkness and evil, okay? The heavens and the earth. Well, guess what? We are Elohim, and it almost sounds like that job belongs to us. Because then what does the Lord do? Well, he forms and makes. And that was light and peace. So I'm going to say that eventually we are going to come to a point where we're going to not we're going to realize that we are the gods that are spoken of in this book, small g, and we're just going to say, what is this we have done? And I guess so. I'm kind of taking the place of the snake right now. I'm trying to hand you an apple so that you can understand what evil is and why it's a stem cell. It doesn't have to be used for bad, but the reason why it's allowed is because evil against evil will destroy itself. But it will come, that whole thing will come like a fire and a flood, because it's brother against brother, hand against hand. It's we always see that. That's how the Lord does it. He just turns the bad people against each other, right? So if you are fighting with somebody, you're part of the wicked, because the wicked are reserved for judgment. And judgment has been happening since the garden, all this time. Man was appointed once to die, and then the judgment. Adam died and then started the judgment. That is the great tribulation since the beginning of time. Oh, it's terrible. Why me? Why? I just want to wake up and go, holy shit. I knew stuff only Jesus is supposed to know, or I don't know, Elijah or Enoch or somebody. This is messed up. And I don't want to be that guy. Because you keep killing them. People show up and try to show you. I don't know how I got here. I can only assume, like everybody else, where I come from. because we all come from the same place. We all have the very same breath of life in us. We're all alive as bags of dirt, and whatever has animated me has done the same for you. And I have to respect that. I have to I have to look beyond whatever it is you look like, smell like, do anything, and just realize that there's life in you. And that's as far as I can go. You have to decide what you're going to do with it. We all do. Each of us, we plant our own seeds and we reap them. Sometimes we're, I mean, hey, the whole place is a garden, so yeah, you might be walking amongst thorns and problems and whatever, but when you realize what they're for, you don't mess with them, right? You don't have to have a thorn in your side. It's up to you. Um, if grace is sufficient for you, do you have to tamper with and complain about things that you maybe can't control? Well, then that's when the battle gets ugly, right? Um, I see why it's out of control, and I know that there's something that we missed, and I'm going to keep pushing until I get it out there, or I will die, whichever comes first. Shalom, shalom. 716-229-1343, or hit up one of these videos and I don't know. Forget email. We're talking on a phone, okay? I don't like sending data around. I have ugly people around me.